Hey fam, it's so good to be with you here again for our daily devotional in James. It's been really encouraging, and I hope it's been encouraging for you guys as well. I know it's not ideal not being able to be together in the living room or at church or in home groups, but I'm just so thankful for just the different resources that we have, like YouTube and Zoom and GroupMe, to be able to stay connected in new ways and to still be growing together and still have community together. And I just pray that this time is really a really sweet time with your community in a different way than it has been, and that you're still growing and reading and studying the Word. So today we'll be looking at James chapter 5, verses 7 through 12. So let me read that real quick. Be patient, therefore, brothers, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth, being patient about it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also be patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. Do not grumble against one another, brothers, so that you may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing at the door. As an example of suffering and patience, brothers, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. Behold, we consider those blessed who remain steadfast. You have heard of the steadfastness of Job, and you have seen the purpose of the Lord, how the Lord is compassionate and merciful. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. Wow, what a really, really timely and encouraging and hope-filled couple of verses. Just that reminder and that truth that the coming of the Lord is at hand. I know sometimes it seems like it can't be happening soon, but we know for sure that it is happening, and that each day that passes, we get closer and closer to that day whenever it is. And we have hope in that, and we can cling to that truth in knowing that what Jesus says will come to pass. That he will be returning for his people, and he will make the world new again. And I just know in these really difficult times, it feels really discouraging to think about them. But then when we go that step further and think that Jesus is going to make the world new again, it's just incredible. It's incredible to think about and just praise the Lord for, and be reminded that God is in control of every situation of our lives, and he knows what's going on here, and he has a plan for it. So I really love the image of being patient as a farmer. I know I have always struggled with being patient. It's really hard right now to be patient in my home all by myself. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, what does that actually look like, being patient? But just thinking about the farmer and what he does for his crops. So he plants them, he works the ground, he plants them, and then he has to wait. He has to wait for the rain to come, and not just one time. He waits for the early and for the late rains. And only God controls the weather. Only God can allow that to happen. And the farmer knows that there's nothing he can do about it. It's just a matter of waiting and trusting the Lord. And so, every day when we wake up and go, man, it's another day that I'm home and can't see my friends, we can wait and trust the Lord and know that he will be bringing hope to us. So I just hope that's encouraging and just a really good reminder. I know it was for me, as I tend to lose sight of that and forget a lot of times, unfortunately, that Jesus is coming and that he will be back for us. Another really practical piece of advice / a command that James tells us is in verse 9. He says, do not grumble against one another, brothers, so that you may not be judged. And again, how easy is it to complain and grumble when we're tired or we're scared or we're just in bad moods and don't want to be home anymore. And so we text people complaining, or we tell our family we're complaining or whatever, and especially about other people who maybe aren't sheltering in place the way that we want them to. But the way we conduct ourselves and the words that we say really affect other people, and they look at that, and we're lights in the world for Jesus. And so it's even more important that we really guard our tongues and remember that we're not the judge of people, that no matter what we say, God is the ultimate judge. And I'm so thankful for his mercy and his grace, because we will all fail so many times, but the Lord is faithful to forgive us when we seek it. So yeah, I hope this passage was encouraging, and even just thinking about Job, and I encourage you all to go read Job as well, and just remember that it seemed like Job lost everything, and he did. He lost his family, his livelihood, his home, even some of his friends, but God was still faithful in that situation, and then in the end he blessed him abundantly more than Job could have ever expected or anticipated. And that's just really cool to remember and know that God has so much more for us planned than we could ever imagine. So I love you all, praying for you all, and hope to see you again as soon as possible. But in the meantime, let's be patient and waiting for that time, as well as waiting for the coming of the Lord.